All right, buckle up for a deep dive
Into
into episode 2 of La Palma,
yeah,
that Netflix show everyone's talking about.
it's pretty intense.
It is, and if you want to be in the loop, even if you haven't had time to watch it, we've got you covered.
We're gonna break it down.
Give you the key takeaways, those aha moments.
And maybe even spark some thoughts you wouldn't have had just watching it on your own.
Right off the bat, episode 2 throws us back to 2021,
Yeah.
to that real eruption of Cumbre Vieja.
On La Palma.
Like, bam, right in your face.
It is.
Real footage, real destruction.
You know, that immediately sets a different tone, don't you think? Like, this isn't messing around.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the show is saying, hey, pay attention. This could actually happen.
Exactly. It grounds the story.
In reality.
In a chilling reality.
And then we meet Alvaro,
Our geologist.
who's seeing all the warning signs
Red flags everywhere.
that Cumbre Vieja is about to erupt again. But nobody's listening.
Classic.
Talk about frustration.
It's a total dilemma, isn't it? The scientists have the data. They're trying to sound the alarm.
But they're hitting a wall.
It's like, think about La Palma's economy.
Tourism, right.
Huge. So you can imagine the pressure on those officials,
To keep things running smoothly.
even with a potential disaster looming,
It's like they're choosing to ignore it.
hoping it'll just go away.
And then, in the middle of all this tension,
Wow.
enter the unsuspecting family.
From Norway,
Frederick, Jennifer.
their kids, Sara and Tobias.
Tobias has autism.
Which I think the show is subtly setting up to add another layer,
Of complexity.
yeah, to their experience.
Because his sensory sensitivities and need for routine,
Could make the eruption even more challenging for them.
it's like another dimension to the whole human element of the story.
Right.
So I've got this family
Landing on La Palma,
excited for vacation.
no clue about the simmering volcano under their feet.
Meanwhile, Marie and Hakor,
Our dynamic volcanologist duo.
they're back in that mysterious cave from episode 1.
Remember that huge gap they found?
Yeah, and now their readings are going haywire.
Not just a little bit either.
Like 10 times the normal levels of sulfur dioxide.
That's a big deal.
Okay, for those of us who aren't volcanologists,
Yeah, good point.
what does that even mean? Why is sulfur dioxide so scary?
Basically, it means magma, that superheated molten rock.
Oh, wow.
It's rising closer to the surface.
Like the volcano's getting ready to blow.
Exactly.
So we've got this ticking time bomb,
The scientists are scrambling,
trying to convince the authorities,
while our Norwegian family is just chilling.
oblivious to the danger.
It's such a stark contrast, right? Paradise versus impending doom,
And the episode just keeps weaving these storylines together.
tightening the tension with every scene.
It's masterful,
And then there's the personal stuff, too.
right? Alvaro's marriage is strained.
Marie is almost obsessive about her work.
And even the Norwegian family has those little tensions bubbling under the surface.
It's like the show is reminding us that even in the face of a massive natural disaster,
It's the personal struggles
the human element
that makes the characters real.
makes us care about what happens to them.
It's brilliant.
And it makes you wonder, right? Is the volcano just a metaphor
For what?
for all the pressures we face?
Like our own personal volcano.
Exactly. Those simmering anxieties we might be ignoring.
Whoa, that's deep.
It is.
Definitely something to think about.
And this is just the setup.
Episode 2 is just getting started.
We haven't even gotten to the eruption yet.
Oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me neither.
Back again for more La Palma.
Picking up where we left off.
Scientists are in full panic mode.
Authorities still not quite getting it.
And the Norwegian family
Totally oblivious.
about to have their vacation interrupted.
Big time.
It's like, you know that feeling when you're watching a disaster movie
Aww.
and you just know something terrible's about to happen?
But you can't look away.
Exactly. Makes you think, if you were there,
Yeah.
would you be the one running for the hills?
Or the one sipping a margarita on the beach.
Right. But, okay, let's get back to those cliffhangers.
Oh, yeah. Things are about to get real.
The ground's shaking. Scientists are making those last-ditch phone calls.
And then
Boom.
the eruption.
Full force.
It's intense.
Lava spewing, ash clouds everywhere.
The ground is literally trembling.
And the sound, oh man, the sound.
No. Those rumbles, the hissing.
It's like you're right there.
I was practically holding my breath.
It's one thing to read about a volcanic eruption.
But seeing it on screen like that,
It's visceral.
you really feel the power of nature.
And it's not just about the spectacle, though.
Right.
The show captures the human impact, too.
People running, families getting separated.
Total chaos.
It's a reminder that no matter how advanced we think we are,
Nature can still knock us down.
in a heartbeat.
And speaking of vulnerability.
Our Norwegian family.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about Tobias.
And how his autism might make things even more difficult.
The episode does a really great job with that, showing how the noise, the lights, the change in routine.
It all triggers sensory overload for him.
It's heartbreaking.
And the whole family dynamic is tested.
Frederick, the dad, trying to be strong.
But you can see the fear in his eyes.
Jennifer, the mom, trying to hold it together.
But she's clearly overwhelmed.
And Sara, the older sister, caught in the middle.
It's a realistic look at how a family deals with that kind of stress.
And you were seeing how the eruption forces them to confront those tensions.
Oh, yeah. Remember how Frederick and Jennifer seemed a little distant?
Like something was off.
Well, in the middle of this crisis,
They have to rely on each other,
communicate,
work together.
to protect their kids.
And through that shared experience,
They start to reconnect.
like the volcano brought them back together.
In a way, yeah.
It's like even in the midst of destruction,
There's still room for growth.
for transformation.
I mean, it's not just them. Alvaro goes through it too.
Our scientist who's been warning everyone.
He's finally being taken seriously.
After all that pushback.
Well, sort of.
What do you mean?
The eruption proves he was right,
Yeah,
but it also shows him that there are limits to what he can do.
you can't control nature.
He can't save everyone.
That's got to be a heavy burden.
Knowing what's coming, but not being able to stop it.
The episode really captures that inner struggle he's going through.
The responsibility, the frustration, the guilt.
It's a reminder that even in a disaster,
There are no easy answers.
no clear-cut heroes or villains,
Just people doing their best.
in a really tough situation.
Exactly.
What about the authorities?
They finally come around.
Are they listening to Alvaro now?
Let's just say they're playing catch-up.
Scrambling
Trying to coordinate relief efforts.
to deal with the panic.
Face the reality of what's happening.
It makes you think, if they had listened to Alvaro from the beginning,
Yeah.
could they have prevented some of this?
Save lives.
That's got to weigh on them.
It raises questions about responsibility.
Accountability.
The choices we make when faced with risk.
So much to think about.
And this is just the beginning of the aftermath.
We've still got to see how the characters rebuild,
How the island recovers.
what the long-term impact will be.
But before we get to all that,
Let's just take a moment.
to process what we've seen.
What stands out to you the most
For me, it's how the show balances the spectacle
of the eruption?
with the personal stories.
It's not just about lava and ash,
It's about how this event affects real people,
how they cope, how they survive.
their vulnerabilities and their strength.
And we're back, still digging into La Palma.
Episode 2, The Aftermath.
Things have definitely cooled down, literally.
The volcano has.
But the story, not so much.
It's like the calm after the storm, you know?
You see the destruction.
The dust settling.
And you start to realize this is just the beginning.
Of a whole new set of challenges.
I think La Palma does a great job of showing that.
That it's not just about the eruption itself.
Right. The long-term consequences.
Exactly. The island is forever changed.
The landscape, the homes, the people's lives.
Everything's been disrupted.
It's a powerful reminder of how nature can just reshape our world.
In an instant.
And then you have the recovery efforts.
The logistics of it all.
Getting aid to people, rebuilding infrastructure.
The emotional toll on everyone involved.
Yeah, it's
It
overwhelming.
really highlights the long road ahead.
And how, even with the best intentions,
Recovery is a long and difficult process.
it's not just about rebuilding buildings either.
Right, there's the emotional trauma, too.
The fear, the sense of loss.
That can linger for years.
It's like a scar on the community.
La Palma explores that psychological impact really well.
We see Alvaro wrestling with guilt,
Marie pushing herself too hard,
and the Norwegian family.
trying to find their footing in all the chaos.
It's like the eruption becomes this catalyst.
For both destruction and transformation.
It forces the characters to confront their fears,
And find new ways to cope.
to adapt.
And it's not just about individual journeys either.
You see the community coming together,
Supporting each other.
finding strength in shared experience. It's really inspiring to see
It speaks to the power of human connection.
that even in the darkest of times,
There's still hope,
compassion,
empathy,
a reminder that we're not alone.
even amidst devastation.
And it makes you think, how would I react in that situation?
What strengths would I draw on?
Would I help others?
It's a powerful question.
It's what makes La Palma so compelling.
It's more than just a disaster story.
It's a reflection of what it means to be human,
Our capacity for resilience.
but also our vulnerability.
And the show doesn't give you easy answers.
No clear-cut heroes or villains.
Just real people facing incredibly complex challenges.
It's messy. It's nuanced.
And ultimately, it's hopeful.
Because even in the destruction,
You see those glimmers of hope,
the human spirit enduring,
people helping each other.
rebuilding their lives,
It's a reminder that even when things seem impossible,
I can find a way forward.
La Palma leaves you with this sense of cautious optimism.
A belief that we can overcome even the most daunting obstacles.
Yeah, it's a powerful message.
So as we wrap up our deep dive,
Into this explosive episode,
we're left with a sense of awe
for the power of nature.
and a deep appreciation for the resilience of the human spirit.
It's been a fascinating journey.
We hope you've enjoyed it,
Learn something new.
and maybe even had your own aha moments along the way.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.